Can you?
All right. So the final thing is that the session will be recorded and it will be made available to you, right? So just relax. The session will be recorded. You need to go through it and see how it's easy. Some people are scared, say data, no, it's quite hard. There's nothing hard in it, right? Once you understand the skills behind data, how to manipulate data, I can guarantee you that data will certainly obey you. Give them the instructions and they answer you. All right, so our community and faculty, since 2019, we have an expert-led community. There are so many things people enjoy in our community, right? We have seen situations whereby people are undergoing tests and interviews and they need a quick response. And because it's a community, you will always have people that are online. So immediately such questions are asked, maybe they are doing some virtual interview and the likes, you see answers popping up, you see direct answers popping up. And it has helped a lot in gaining various gaining jobs and the likes. So we have expert-led community. Our instructors are all in the community channel. They are there to help, to assist on time. Also, we have individuals and organizations. We leverage analytics, we train individuals, we train organizations, we help them upskill in their career and also ensure business success. There are organizations we have deployed various data warehousing solutions that has helped them to thrive in the midst of a competitive environment. Our faculties are equipped with experienced instructors, as well as we also have experienced materials that helps our students gain mastery within a short period. We have trained people, we also offer corporate solutions, trained organizations, First Bank, Green Africa Airline, Aero Contractors, Synlab, ValueJet, and the likes. So what are our competitive advantage, or why will you have to look at Scenario Academy as where um, you can have a course with, right? So we do both online and physical classes. We have our office at Ikeja, very close to the underbridge, below precisely. Our facility can take 60 people conveniently. We have 2 people on each table, 2 people. Very clean and neat facility, AC equipped, everything. So even the environment itself is sufficient enough to enable learning, right? So we offer both online and physical classes, and all our classes are recorded, right? So they give you the opportunity to be able to revert to some of these recordings and gain mastery, right? So we also have instructor-led, our instructors are industry experts, right? They have cross-domain expertise, right? So you find somebody like some of our instructors, they've worked in healthcare, they've worked in aviation, worked in this. So data analytics is not limited to a particular industry. It cuts across all industry, right? The main thing is that during the training, you'll be taught on how to use the tools. And when you have a mastery of using the tools, you'll be able to position yourself very well in any environment you meet yourself, right? Find yourself in HR, human resources department, you'll be able to analyze their data and be able to give them informations that will help the business. We also have gamification as an approach to learning. We make sure that the learning approach is interesting. We make it so interesting for our students. Aside that, also after the training, we offer unpaid online internship, right? Meaning that after the training, you will now have to undergo internship. So what do we want to achieve in internship? In the internship program, you will now be applying the skills learned in order to solve industry problems, right? So during this time, we have to hold you tight and ensure that So for the internship period, we always offer on it's always unpaid. We don't ask you for money. It's always free. The only thing is that we ask you for discipline, meaning that we ensure that you comply with every assignment and tasks that are given to you. Right? We also have the WhatsApp and Discord community. We also help people to build up their portfolios as well as we also give references. There are so many of our students, so many. They keep so many of our students that are in UK, US, and the likes came into Senior Academy and found out some of these organizations where they have worked, where they are currently working, we ask for references and like we give work references or we give whatever is needed to ensure that our students are happy, right? And we do have the quarterly alumni meetup, right? Where industry experts will come and we just teach all the ex-students, all our past students, some projects in order to help them gain some upskill with um, current happenings, right? So we are looking at how we transition into data analytics. And like I said, it has nothing to do with I don't have a background in this, I don't have a background. Our teaching method will take you up such that you'll be able to enjoy what it means to analyze data. All right. So this morning we'll be having two instructors. The first of our facilitator will be Ademola, is a chartered accountant, a financial analyst, and he has been with us for many years. He's someone that once he handles training with you, you will really love it. And you will have an experience this morning. He has solid foundation in accounting with extensive financial expertise. Demola prides himself in organization empowerment in making excellent financial decisions. So he's vast in various analytical tools, Excel, Power BI, SQL, and the likes. And it's also is also expertise in accounting software like QuickBooks Sage, wherein he streamlines financial processes, enhance reporting accuracy. So you'll be meeting with Ademola Adegoke shortly. Also here we have Abayomi, the second instructor. Both will be taking you briefly on how you can transition into data analytics. Is a Microsoft certified Power BI analyst, multiple years of experience working in financial and telecommunication sector. He has built-in expertise in business intelligence. That's business intelligence, that's visualization, data engineering, data analysis, reporting, and visualization, right? So in Scenario Academy, anything data is our core strength, right? So sometimes you have data in various places, and you need to aggregate them into one. That's data engineering. So with data engineering, you'll be able to pull data from various sources, build them into one data warehouse, and from there you can start doing your automation, your reporting, visualization. So Abayom is vast in tools like Excel, Looker, Tableau, SQL, Azure, Fabrics, to mention but a few. So in the next few minutes, so for now, we'll be moving to the first session, which will be anchored by Ademola Adegoke. So I will stop sharing now so that we can switch to Ademola right away. Thank you for your time. You're welcome. All right. So another thing here is that please, I would like everybody to rename. Please rename your name on the group chat on the participants. I can see here that I have. I think that's an error from us. I really ask crave your indulgence. Please do a renaming. Rename to your real name. That will help us to know whom we are dealing with. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yes, we
all
can hear
right.
you, sir.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, on my full line. Good morning, Dada Daniel, Esther John Oat, Oye Kale Emmanuel, Bashon Zenab, Shopper, good morning, Samuel, good morning. Good morning to everyone. I hope Shopper has done the necessary introduction, and I'm just expected to just dive in. If he has not, he can continue, but if he has, I can simply just dive
Please
into
go
what
ahead.
I'm
I've done
hearing.
my part. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
All right, okay. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to Scenario Academy, a citadel of excellence when it comes to data analysis. Scenario has been on this in this space for quite a while now, and they've churned out credible and efficient over the years. So we welcome you to this platform, and what what you should expect if you when you eventually. So I'm going to give a brief introduction of what you should expect as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned. I'm going to give you an idea of how to create a dashboard and how to analyze data, how to visualize it, and how to make meaningful decision out of it, because data analysis in itself, okay, data analysis in itself is the process of cleaning, changing, and extracting actionable information that help. When we talk about data analytics, raw form, the data is usually in its mess, and it makes no sense to a non-data analyst. He begins to wonder, what is this before him? It makes definitely it is. So you have to go through the cleaning process. You have to go through the can you still all hear me? Okay.
Can you please increase your volume?
Okay.
Thank you.
You can hear me now, right? Please
We can
confirm.
hear you,
Much.
but the audio is not clear enough.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay,
I'm
okay. It should be
sorry,
clear
but
now.
not
I just okay, okay. But you can, is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Is it better now?
Yes,
sir.
I think.
Okay, let me continue. Okay, so as I was saying, it is usually in its raw format. It is usually in a messy form, in a messy state. So it takes the efficiency, it takes the technical know-how of a data analyst to ensure that from that messy data, is able to extract information, meaningful information at that. And this information must be relevant such that business executives, even non-data analysts, should be able to make decisions out of that information. I want you to picture it as a tuber of yam. When you buy a tuber of yam from your regular market, be it Mile 12, be it Balogun or Oshodi market, you buy a tuber of yam. That tuber of yam is soiled. It is in its peel, right? It is soiled, it is dirty, the soil is still on it. You can't consume that tuber of yam in that form. You have to take it to your kitchen. You have to slice it. You have to peel the dirt off. You have to wash it. You have to salt it, and you have to determine whichever method you so desire. Okay, whether you want to fry it, whether you want to boil it, whether you want to roast it, or whatever. So it is after you have done all these things that you can say you have digested a yam, but you can't eat that yam in a raw format. The same thing applies to data. And I'm going to share a data this morning such that when you see that data, if care is not taken, you might feel intimidated at what's the meaning of it. This data consists of 50,000 rows. 50,000 rows. I mean, you can't even see from the top to the bottom of this data, and you are expected to analyze it. If you present this data in that state, whoever you are presenting to will not be able to make a meaning out of it. So this is the data I am talking about. This is the data I'm talking about. I want to stop sharing this now. I want to share the data now. Please confirm you can see this data. Please confirm you can see this, everyone.
No, we can't see anything, sir.
It's just load.
Can you see?
Not yet, sir.
You should see it now.
No, we can see it now.
This is the data. That's about 50,000 rows here. 50,000 rows here. Can you see? So look
Yes,
at
sir.
this data. This data talks about the spate of crime. The spate of crime in Lagos. If I present this data to, say, the Lagos State government or the Ministry of Police Affairs or whoever is in charge of all those things, if I present this data to them, it's just a regular Excel sheet that you just presented to them. You can't derive any meaning out of this. This does not have any meaning whatsoever. But there is a value, there's an intricate value embedded in this data if it is well analyzed. And that is why we are here. That is what we sought to do this morning. So back to my PDF file that I said, it is the process of cleaning it, changing it, and the raw data and extracting actionable, relevant information that helps you make informed decision. Okay, so this kind of decision can help you analyze what has happened in the past. It can help you to analyze why something happened. It can help you analyze what is likely to happen, and can also help you analyze what action you are supposed to take. So these are the 4 types of analytics that we have. But in our own case here, given this data analytics, given this raw data in this Excel form, we want to analyze what happened. And that is what we call the descriptive analytics. Okay, I am not diving deep into the whole Excel. I'm just giving you an idea, okay? We are talking about the descriptive aspect with this data we have here. If I have another data, maybe when you eventually sign up to Scenario Academy, I can have another data that analyzes why something happened, okay? And that is diagnostic analytics, okay? I can also have another data that analyzes what is likely to happen. That is predictive analytics. We are trying to predict future events. I can have another data that talks about what action to take, and that is what prescription. Okay, so, and I also want you to know that it cuts across various walks of life. I have seen people say that they don't need data analysis skill because they are not in the finance space, they are not in the marketing space, they are not in the sales space. I want to assure you, I want to tell you that data analysis is peculiar to all walks of life. It is relevant to all walks of life, be it technology, be it nature, be it engineering, be it physics, whatever field of endeavor, field of human endeavor. This subject called data analytics is very relevant, okay? So we should downplay that idea that it is only for those in finance, it is for those in marketing, it is for those in
So we can hear you now.
Sorry, Ademola, please, can you rename yourself so that we can identify you and make you the host, please?
Hello, everyone. Please forgive me for that. I had a break in network. Pardon me, everyone. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, so as I was saying, so I carefully chose this particular data set because it has nothing to do with finance, it has nothing to do with sales and marketing. It is relevant to those in the criminal space that investigate crimes, the police, the detectives, and all of those people in that field of endeavor, just to show that it is not for those in the finance space at all. So this data set before me talks about the issue of crime in Lagos State. It talks about the issue of crime in Lagos State. And as I mentioned earlier, it talks about 50,000 rows. If you from January to December of 2015, okay? So there are 20 local governments in Lagos, Badagry, Surulere, Mushin, Ekpe, Alimosho, Ketu, and all of those. Those are the locations in Lagos. Ajeromi, Koshofe, Lagos Island, Lagos Mainland, Ojo, Shomolu, Surulere, Solo. These are the local governments in Lagos. This is the crime
Excuse
ID.
me, sir, we
This is the
can't see
case number.
anything.
This is the date. You can't see my screen?
Yes, sir. Okay, sure. Now we can see it. Thank you, sir.
You should see my screen. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
You should see my screen. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so this is the date that it happened. This is the month. This is the location. This is the type of crime. We have the homicide. We have arson. We have assault. We have battery, burglary, concealed carry license, sexual assault, criminal damage, gambling, motor vehicle theft, narcotics. I mean, all various kind of offense, robbery, sex offense, stalking, theft, weapon violation. These are the various crimes that will occur, and this is a degree of the crime, okay? This is a various degree of the crime. This is the location where the crimes happened. Some happened in the aircraft, some happened at the airport, some happened in the bank, some happened in a cemetery, some church, cleaning store, even in schools, some happen there. So we have the various places that these crimes occur. Now, the question is, for all these crimes, were arrests made? Were arrests made? So were arrests made? Some as true arrest was made, false arrest was not made. For instance, look at this crime here. First degree murder, there was no arrest. For this guy, for this one, there was arrest. What happened? I mean, they were both crimes, but what happened? One, there was an arrest. One, there was no arrest. So this shows that there's an issue with the security system in Lagos as far as this year is concerned. It means the law enforcement agency are not up to their responsibility for them to make an arrest regarding this, and they didn't make an arrest regarding this for the same crime. So something is wrong, and that is what we want to explain. Okay, Folarin, you raised your hand. Do you want to say something? Okay. All right, so let us analyze it here. And the Excel function that we want to use to analyze this is called pivot table. Pivot table. For you to analyze and create a dashboard in Excel, you need a pivot table. Okay, it is that pivot table that you're going to use, and you're going to convert it to a pivot chart. And that is what we are going to use to analyze this data to create a dashboard. Okay, so look at it here. Look at this. Look at this here. This is exactly what we want to replicate, but we are going to do it even in a better format. Okay, and that is what we want to create here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make sure that my workspace is clean. Okay, I can come here and I say, okay, I want to use month, I want to use location, I want to use this column header, the month, the location description, whether arrests were made or not. I want to use them as a basis for my analysis. I want to use them as a basis for my analysis. All this CID code, all this primary type, IUCR, they may not be relevant as far as my analysis is concerned, okay? So if I want to do this, I'm going to create a dashboard. I'm going to say my dashboard will be here, okay? My dashboard will be here. Okay, so I come here, I say I want to insert a pivot table. I want to insert a pivot table. So I come to my insert tab here. Look at my insert tab here, everyone. I come to my insert tab. The moment I click that,
Please hold on.
so here, this is my pivot table icon. Can you see? This is my pivot table icon. So I'm going to click on pivot table here. Okay. Please pardon me for that. So I come here, I click on pivot table. Pivot table. Okay, I click on pivot table. Now, Excel is asking me that where do I want to create my table? And I'm going to say I want to create it on an existing worksheet because I already have a worksheet. So where's the location of the worksheet? This is the location here. And I'm going to click OK. Okay, I've done that. Having clicked OK, I have my pivot table field here. I have my pivot table field there. Since I have my pivot table field there, and as I mentioned earlier, I said that I'm going to use the month and I'm going to use the primary type, the description of crime. Okay. Okay, let me say the description of crime here and the local government here. Description of crime here and the location here. Look at it. This is all the 20 local governments in Lagos. All the 20 local governments. These are the various crimes committed in all those locations. This is what I've just created here is just a table. Okay, it's a table. What I need now is to create a chart out of it. Okay, so if I want to create a chart, all I need to do is to click on this and say insert again. Once I say insert, and I'm going to say recommended chart. Okay, I'm going to click on this 3D chart here, and I'm going to click on OK. Can you see? So this is it here. So once I've done this, I can Control-C it and place it somewhere else. Here, say somewhere like this. Control-V. I have done that. This is it, everyone. So I can now begin to design it and say, okay, this is a crime by location. Crime by location. I can begin to format and say this is Control-B. I can say, I can remove this legend here. Okay, this is the location. I'm going to bold it. And I can even go ahead and create a slicer. It is this slicer that will make it to be what? To be interactive. Okay, so if I want to create a slicer, I can easily click on this chart and I say insert. What do I want to insert? Slicer. What does slicer do? Slicer helps you to filter data visually. Okay, so if I click on slicer and I'm going to say I want to use month. If I click on month, I'm going to click on OK. So by using this slicer, I'm going to make my data, I'm going to make it interactive. Just the way you have, the way you do it in Power BI, the way you do it in Tableau, I'm doing it the same thing here. Such that when I click on January here, I can see all the crimes committed across the 20 local governments in Lagos State for January. Okay, these are all the crimes committed in January. Okay, if I say February, you can see that this thing is interacting. If I click on May, I have May here. Okay, it's interacting. So these are the things that when you eventually sign up, these are the things you are going to dive deep into. Okay, this is just a brief introduction for what to what you stand to expect when you eventually sign up. For July, for August, by then we're going to create a comprehensive dashboard, not just with a particular chart. The dashboard will comprise at least 4 charts, and everything will be interactive at the same time. So if you have any question for me, you can ask now. Thank you. If you have any question for me. Do you have any question for me? Okay. okay, you want me to explain the slicer again. So I'm going to delete the slicer. I've deleted it. Now that I've deleted it, the data set, the pivot chart rather, is back to its status here. Okay, it's back to where it originally was. Okay, now if I want to insert the slicer, I'm going to click on this chart here, and I'm going to go to insert here, insert, and I'm going to click on slicer. Now, for every function that you want to use in Excel, for every function that you want to use, the moment you place your cursor on that function, Excel will give you a description of that function. In the case of slicer, it tells me that a slicer is used to filter data visually. Okay, and I mean that is self-explanatory if you ask me. It is used to filter data visually. It makes it faster and easier to filter tables, pivot charts, pivot tables, and all of those things. So once I click this, I click on slicer. Okay, the moment I click on slicer, I click on month, since I want to use month as my basis. Okay, the moment I click on month, I can say okay. If I click on okay here, if I click January, this is becoming interactive now. It means the moment I click on January, all the crimes committed across all the local governments in January alone is what is featuring here. If I click on February, look at it, February, can you see? If I click on March, these are all the crimes committed. If I click on April, these are all the crimes. If I click on May, these are all the crimes. I can even go a step further and say I want to insert a timeline. What does timeline do? I click on this again and I say insert. Insert what? Insert timeline. What does timeline do? It uses a timeline to filter date interactively. So it has told me what timeline does, right? So if I click on it, timeline only works with date. But in this case, it is not working because the data set, this data set here, this date has not been formatted in the right format. It is not in the right format. That is why timeline is not working. Okay, that is why it is not. But if I format it, maybe when we eventually come on board, if I format it and I use timeline here, I can assure you that you're going to see it there. Okay, and timeline only works for date alone. It works for date. It doesn't work for any other variable. Unlike slicer that works for description, location, and all of those things, timeline doesn't work. I can even say here, I don't want to use month as my slicer. I want to use arrest. This slicer here, I want to say, okay, I want to know whether arrests were made or not. I can click on arrest and I click on OK. If I click on OK, I'm going to have a true or false here. So if I click on false, these are all the crimes in Lagos that arrests were not made for. If I click on true, these are all the crimes in Lagos that arrests were made for. Okay, and if you look at the data, the analysis I have done earlier here, look at the analysis I did here earlier. Look at something like this. If I click on K2, can you see? Koshofe. Can you see? These things are changing here. Look at true or false here. Can you see? Mushin or job. These things are changing. So this is what pivot table and pivot chart in Microsoft Excel. This is what they do. So if you have any question now, you can ask before I give the floor to the next person. Do you have any question for me?
Please let your question come in if there are any, but I think it's easy.
Right, there are no questions. How did you get all those data? Was it imputed manually? Okay, that's a beautiful question. Okay, since this is a classroom, and let me use that word. Since this is a classroom, this data was pulled from relevant government website. Okay, if I want to talk about data relating to 2023 election in Nigeria, if I want to analyze 2023 general election in Nigeria, all I need to do is to go to INEC's website. Okay, I go to INEC's website, I download the 2023 general election data, and I clean it up. Once I clean it up, I can analyze it here. So in that case, I got it from somewhere. I got it from INEC website. If I want to get if I want to analyze data regarding GT Bank, for instance, I want to analyze about their customer base, their customer demographics, and all of those things. All I need to do is to go to GT website. I get the information there. But in real life, okay, in real life, let's say, who asked this question? Okay, Basharon Zainab, you asked this question. Let us assume that Basharon Zainab, you are a doctor, okay? Let's assume you're a medical doctor. And as a medical doctor, you have information regarding patients that come to your hospital. Say on Monday, a pregnant woman came, a patient with fever came, a patient with HIV came, a patient with cancer came, and with various illnesses, okay, they come to your hospital. It is expected that either you or your receptionist or your secretary or whoever is in charge is going to enter that information in a database. It is this daily information that you are entering, whether in your Excel sheet, whether in your whatever database your hospital uses, whatever database they use, it is expected that every day, the daily activity in your hospital, it will be entered there. And at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, or at the end of the year, this database will have been so large to such that you have something like this. You have something like this. This is something that happened in the space of a year between January to December 2015. So it is expected that the author of this sheet enter it every day. Okay, today, crime happened in Badagry. Let me enter it. Crime happened in Badagry tomorrow. Let me enter it. So it is the accumulation of daily events. Okay, it is the accumulation of daily events that brings about this data here. Okay, so, but in the case of this data, since it is a ready-made data, all I need to do is go to the relevant government website, download it, and the person that even put it there, he has to do it, he has to start from the very scratch, from the very beginning. So to answer your question, to get your data, it is either you do it organically, okay? You're going to do it organically. That is the best way to answer your question. Okay, and Tamuno says to do a quick summary of everything. The quick summary of everything that I've said so far is that data analytics helps you to understand events. It helps you to understand situation. With what I have done here, you could understand that, okay, in Agege, for instance, for the whole of year 2015, there were about 1,326 crimes. And for this 1,326 crimes, arrests were actually made in Agege. Okay, for force, out of the total crimes, there were about how many crimes? 3,000 that arrests were not made for. So we are able to make meaning, okay? Meaning out of a situation. We are able to make a meaning out of an event. And from that meaning, we are able to make a decision. If I'm to present this to the governor of Lagos State, look at your Lagos. Look at your Lagos. Look at the spate of crime in Lagos. Arrests were not made for this crime. What is going on? Could it be that the law enforcement have been bribed? Could it be that they are not up to their responsibility? Could it be that they are undermotivated to the point that they developed a nonchalant attitude to their responsibility? So these are the things, and the government can sit down and say, okay, what can we do? Should we boost their morale? Should we invest more in their capacity training to ensure that they can undo crime? Should we invest more in weapons? I mean, all those kind of things. So you see government, they just come one day and say they are doing this, they are doing that. They didn't just wake up to make that decision. They relied on the data, and these are the kind of data that they relied on to make that decision. I believe I've been able to convince you. If you have any more questions, let me know. But if you do not have any more, I will hand over the podium to the next person.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very much.
Ademola. Thank you everyone for enjoying this session. It's very explanatory enough. We want to move to the next session, and will not be able to accommodate any question at this point so that at least we can maximize our time. So we'll be switching. So Ademola, you can stop sharing. We'll be switching to the next instructor, Abayomi, and he will be taking us through another session that will help us know how we can navigate into data analytics. Thank you. While we are there.
All right, thank you, Falashepe. Can you hear me? Can you confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, so good morning, everyone. Or is it afternoon? For whatever part of the world you're joining us. All right, so I'm always very excited. So I think you need to stop sharing screen. Who's sharing at the moment? Okay, Ademola, I think you need to stop sharing screen.
Let me do that.
All right, great. All right, so I'm always very excited when I get to engage data into SEAST, or maybe for a number of us, we are looking to, maybe some of us are looking to maybe optimize what we do with data, or for maybe some of us, we are looking to maybe transition right fully into data analytics, right? And I can tell you for sure that you're actually in the right place, right? As a matter of fact, you're actually on the path, right? And the good thing with Scenario Academy is that they would hold your hand along the way, right? They have the way the curriculum is structured such that it gives you a soft landing, right? Such that you are in a good position to at least get an entry level, right? And maybe for, like I said, maybe for some of us who are looking to enhance what you do currently, right? We expose you to how to, use those tools and help to make data-driven decisions, right? And one thing I also like to, share when I get the opportunity to engage, like I said, data enthusiast, right, is that regardless of what tool you use, right? As a matter of fact, even with Excel, you can actually call yourself a data analyst, right? But the end goal really is for all of these tools, doing a lot of data integration or collecting data, cleaning data, up to the point of even maybe exploring this data, doing some data exploration, and even, getting insight from this data, right? The end goal is such that you can make decision off your data. Very, very important, right? Make decision of your data. That's the whole idea of data analytics, right? That people can make decision of your data, just looking at your insights, you can say, oh, looks like we need to take this business decision. Oh, we've not been doing so well in the past few months, right? So very, very important I will put that in mind, because I see a lot of people, having to, yes, pick up this tool, right? Just with Excel, you can be fine, right? And, you want to take a notch higher, we have Power BI, right? Which helps to provide more interactivity, right? It has more interactive elements, yes, other than Excel, right? So like I said, the end goal really is that people can make decision of your data, right? So, so yes, a little bit of introduction. I hope you can see my screen. Is my screen up? Can anyone confirm? Flash up there. Can you confirm? Is my screen up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So a little bit of introduction. Who is Abayomi Abiyoye? So I'm a data cloud engineer, right? I'm sure a number of us, must have heard about cloud, right? Service over the internet. And I use Azure, which is Microsoft Cloud Service. I also use AWS to run one of my data processes, right? Run what we call data integration, moving data from source system to data warehouse. I also use those cloud offerings to also run some of my analysis, right? Most organizations are going into cloud right now, rather than having to rely on most of the processes on-prem, they have all of the resources in the cloud. You only just pay for those resources, right? And then you use them to run all of your processes, right? So yes, Abami Abuse dedicated problem solving. This is something that drives me as an analyst, right? Not just not just being able to detect those problems, right? But also being able to come up with creative ways of solving those problems. Very, 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 very important, right? And one thing I tell people is in the data space, as much as yes, the space looks so saturated, but trust me, if you can bring a lot of ingenuity, right? Because the whole idea is, yes, you all might learn the same tool, but trust me, their smarter approach, of going about using these tools, right? And that is what will make you stand out, right? And some of those things that you'll be exposed to in the class, right? I'm sure the admin, must have taken us through, all of the classes, right? That is currently available in Scenario Academy, right? We expose you to how to really stand out in the space, right? Even beyond, yes, the hard skills, right? It's also very important that there's a balance with the soft skills as well. How to go about tackling tasks, how to think, how to, just really find that balance, when it comes to approaching tasks, and that makes you stand out, really. Yes. So I'm also a Microsoft certified professional Microsoft certified data engineer, also Microsoft certified Power BI analyst, also Microsoft certified analytics engineer. Right. So yes, I'm also a music enthusiast. Right. So I'm hoping that one day, I hope I'm still audible. Can you all see me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, great. Thank you. All right. So I'm also a music enthusiast, right? Hoping that one day I get to the big stage. I don't have to introduce myself. Right. Like you, is not this guy we saw on TV this day was looking for a data. They were looking for money, trying to get tech money, yeah. All right. So yes, so can I meet you? Right. So I want us to now in the chat, just drop your name, what you do currently, right? And why data analytics? Could it be that you want to transition? Are you looking at getting a full-time job within the data space, or you're looking to enhance what you do? So quickly in 1 minute, right? Drop your name, what you do currently, and why data analytics. Sorry, do we get that? Your name, what you do currently, and why data analytics? Yeah, just dropped it on the chat. Can you all still hear me? Hello. Falashakbay, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So can need for side gig in transition, maybe. Oh, enough. Interesting. All right. So I need more. How do you have that one person who has dropped? Okay, Sandra. Okay. Interesting. So you have fashionpreneurs, like to transition into data analytics. Okay. Interesting. Product design needed for side gig. Oh, I mean, this guy's in tech already now. Amos Oluwadari. All right, I need a financial analyst. Basically, no FA within data analytics? Joseph, what do you mean by that? There's no financial analyst. I asked no question. Joseph, I asked a question. Okay,
There-
look, excellent. Sorry, is
I
that
meant there is
Joseph?
basically no, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's basically no financial analyst without data analytics. Oh, okay, great. Great. I mean, great. So like I said, the whole idea is that people can make informed decision, right? Even as a financial analyst, to try and see how you could, like they will say beat data, how you could, because I know for your role, you do a lot of financial projection, is it not?
Yeah, very
So, and there's what we call predictive analytics, being able to anticipate future outcomes, right? As a matter of fact, we have, that feature within Power BI, right? As a matter of fact, we even have that feature within Excel, that helps you do some financial projection, see what, maybe revenue or profits would be like in the coming months. And then, the business or the organization can make a business decision. Okay, Joseph. Oh, okay. You look like okay, resource. Okay, great. So if I sample this data, so a lot of us want to actually transition into data analytics. All right, great. So like I said, you're actually at the right place, right? So and I know they must have taken you through all of offering the classes available within Scenario Academy, right? It's very, very important that yes, you do some self-learning, but it's also great when you have someone to guide you, right? Based on their experience, share their experience with you, right, and help you with whatever blockers, right? And there's also within the academy there's offerings for mentorship, right? Okay. So I think okay, we have this Bashar Shakir. Okay. All right. So great. So I think a large percentage of us are looking to transition into data analytics. All right. All right, great. So sorry, I hope you can still hear me. Hello. Can you see
Yes,
me?
please go ahead. Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, great. So yes, so our journey this morning, right? Start with an introduction to Power BI Desktop, right? Now the Power BI universe is made up of three parts. We have the desktop interface, right, which I believe a number of us should have installed on a laptop, right? There's the Power BI service, and these are things that we actually expose you in the class, in the class, right? And there's also Power BI mobile, right? So yes, we'll be looking at how to connect and shape your data. This is very, very, very important, right? Speaking of the query editor, right? There's also a number of concepts we expose you to in class, right? You might not be able to search here. Speaking of data modeling, speaking of normalization, those are very key concepts, right? Required when you have to build your dashboard or your report, all right? And of course, we're looking at visualizing data, which we all know Power BI for, all right? So just get right into it. I hope my screen is still up.
Yeah, your screen is okay.
All right, great. So yes, a quick summary. All right, so Power BI is a standalone Microsoft Business Intelligence product, which includes both desktop and web-based application for loading, modeling, and visualizing data. Right. So so if you need more information, right, tons of additional information you can get on powerbi.microsoft.com. Right. So I want to show something real quick. So this is called the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Right. So Gartner is a market intelligence research company, and they produce these quadrants about a few times a year. They also have this quadrants for even software engineering tools, right? So what we have here is the Magic Quadrant for Analytics and Business Intelligence Platform, right? This was updated as at June 2024, right? And the idea really is that you have completeness of vision on the x-axis, you have the ability to execute on the y-axis, right? And then when you break down the quadrants or the players into four, right, you would see here at the top right corner, we have the leaders, there's the challengers, the niche players, and the visionaries. And of course, where you want to be is at the top right corner, where the leaders, and that is exactly where you see Microsoft with Power BI, right? Leading the charge among some very powerful tools. I'm sure a number of us are familiar with Tableau, right? As a matter of fact, I know last year when they released the same Magic Quadrant, Microsoft with Power BI was actually way ahead, right? So, and one thing I tell people is that it's really an exciting time to learn Power BI, right? So, because Power BI again more powerful and popular, right? So let's quickly transition into why Power BI. Right. So first and foremost, with Power BI, you can connect and transform millions of rows of data. As a matter of fact, you can actually analyze hundreds of millions of rows of data. Right. And this data can, you can access data from virtually anywhere. Right. So that's some of those things we expose you to in class. Be it some database, be it flat file, be it the cloud. Right. There's a huge connector library, within Power BI that allows you to access, tons of information. Right. And then there's what we call, with Power BI, you can create what we call, let me put it this way, what we call a repeatable procedure, right? An automated procedure, right, within Power BI. Right. So yes, also Power BI, you can build relational models, right, inside of Power BI. And this is also very, very important, being able to blend data from multiple sources, right? And one thing I thought is actually one concept that is very, very important in the analytics world, right? When it comes to data modeling, data blending, even in SQL, you do some joins, right? Where you look at your primary key and your foreign key, so that things that you're exposed to in class, right? Yes, so with Power BI, you can also define complex calculations using DAX, right? Data analysis expression. So DAX is the formula language that drives Power BI, right? I'm sure maybe for some of us might have been exposed to it, maybe in Excel, right? But in Power BI, we take it a notch higher, right? Writing a lot of DAX. This is also very, very, very important, right? So because it helps for when you have to do some advanced analytics techniques, yes, it helps. DAX helps for that, right? Yes, and of course, what we all know Power BI for visualize data, interactive reports and dashboards, being able to create, those custom dashboards, custom BI tools, right? And of course, last but not least, Power BI is Australia among BI platforms. So we saw that with the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And like I said, Power BI will keep getting bigger, better, and more powerful, right? Because as a matter of fact, almost every month there are a lot of releases, updates being done on Power BI, right? Just to ensure that it meets the current needs, right? So, like I said, it's really an exciting time to be learning Power BI. All right, great. So, yes, for some of us who do not have Power BI installed, I'll just show us real quick how do we, how you can access or how do you download the installer or how do you install Power BI on your PC. I think I'll just hide this. All right, so I'll go to powerbi.microsoft.com, right? And then where you have product, just hover on this and then select desktop. All right. So usually when you click on download now, it takes you to the Microsoft Store. You can actually install from the store. And that helps because what that means that from the store, you you would always have automatic updates, right? But then again, you can also download the installer, right? So I'll click on advanced download, and then here you have the option here, download, and then you check this. I know for a lot of us, most of our PC asked for installers, so you click on them, you click download, and then you install using the installer. You launch an installer and you have it installed on your PC, right? So I already have Power BI Desktop installed already, so I'll just launch that. All right, so I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right, great, thank you. All right, so I'll just click on blank reports. So this opens a blank canvas. Did someone just annotate? Okay. All right, so okay, so I have this blank canvas. Right. So in the class, we'll take our time to look at the specific menus, the home tab, the insert, the model, and the view. Right. But I just want to show something real quick. In the view tab, you have a number of options here. The bookmarks, using bookmarks. These are things that help for interactivity, right, which you're exposed to in class. Right. So usually your journey using Power BI Desktop starts with your get data. Right. So I would click on this get data, and if I click on more, you'd see we have a number of data connectors here, right? If I'm connecting to a database or search this, connect to SQL Server database on my SQL, Postgre, or on Azure SQL database, right? But currently I have an Excel file which I'll be working with, right? So I'll just click on. Okay, so I'll just click on Excel, right? So if it's a CSV file, I'll click on CSV. If it's a folder, I'll click on folder, right? This is another smart way of doing what we call an append. When you have to stack, combine, you have a number of files, right? Let's say you have it splitted by year, right? So with the folder connector, you can do an append, which is something we're exposed to in class. So I'll just click on connect, and it tells me, okay, I need to select the file that I'll be using. So I'll click on open. All right. So this tells me I have 3 sheets, right, within that Excel file, right? So I'll just check all of this. And then I'll click on transform, right? So when I click on transform, that takes me to the Power Query editor. All right. And as a matter of fact, if you're using Power BI, right, so using the desktop interface, right, you do a whole lot within the query editor, right? So when it comes to connecting from your data, the query editor is like your guy, right? And then we have a number of tabs, right, within the query editor, right? So, but like I said, during the class, we'll break each of the components of this interface. Right. But a lot of times you get to do a lot of things within your transform tab and your add column tab. Right. And if you have Power BI Desktop open, you notice that we have some tools that are available in transform tab, and at the same time, we also have them within the add column tab. Right. But then again, each tab serves different purpose, right? When you have to modify an existing column, you use your transform tab, or you want to create a brand new column, maybe based on some, conditional rule or operational rule, use your add column. Right. So one of the very thing I do when I import data or I connect to some sources, I ensure that the right name is ensure that when it comes to maybe connecting to a database, right? Ensure that I rename the table or the query, right? So by the left here, you see where we have queries, right? So this is called the query list, right? For every connection that you establish, right? So usually if I connect to a database, you have this as query one, which you can rename, right? I can rename from the properties pane. So what this does basically is that it just calls out query name or the table name, right? It just calls out the query name, right? Or the sheet name, in this case, right? And I can edit this as well. Maybe add an underscore, right? I can as well edit from here as well. Just right click on this and select rename. Right. And one other thing I do is now within here, you see we have a preview, right? And just above the preview here, you notice that we have some very unfamiliar code, really. So this looks like your Excel. This is called the formula bar, right? Just as you have in Excel, right? So you notice that we have some very unfamiliar code, and we notice I did not write this code. Now, this is called M code. Right. I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, great. So like I said, I did not write this code, right? So this is called the M code. So this is automatically generated, right? So for every modification, right, you do, within the query editor, an M code is generated, right? Just like we have in Excel. I mean, for some of us who are familiar with VBA, in Excel, Visual Basic applications, right? For every time that you run an automation or you record, like a macros is recorded, right? Let me see how to better put it. So if you are very familiar with Visual Basic applications, right? For every time you run your code, a macros is recorded, right? So that is exactly how M-code works as well. So for every step that you take within the query editor, an M-code is generated, right? I guess I would take our time to also run through each of these M-code. As a matter of fact, this M-code is actually a table, right? And below here, we have the applied step, right? This tells us that, oh, okay, we got data from the source. If you notice, this is a file part, right? And then we have the file data for demo, right? And then, headers were promoted. If you notice here, we have just placeholders, headers were promoted, and then data type was also changed, right? So most times, Power BI tries as much as possible to detect the right data type. But I really encourage that most times you take your time and run through each of those fields and ensure that, or columns, ensure that the right data type is selected, right? So I would just so once I'm done within the query editor, so in class, we'll touch, there's all called text specific tools, date specific tools. We'll touch all of that in class, right? So I'll just close and apply this. All right, great. All right, so if we look at by our left, we have 3 icons, we have 4 icons, right? If you hover on this, you see report view. You would see table view, and then you see model view, right? But this is very important, right? When we look at the broad business intelligence workflow, Power BI and broad business intelligence workflow, you do not start with the report view, right? You start with the table view. On older version, you have this as data view, right? And then you shift gears into the model view and then the report view. Right, the data view is where you connect and shape your data. The model view helps to create what we call relationship, right? To blend data from multiple sources, right? And then finally, this is where you now build your dashboards or your reports, where you create your visualization, right? So I would do some modeling, but then again, you'll notice that now Power BI is such a smart tool. So it automatically helped me create this relationship, right? So what it did was looked at, okay, we have the primary key in this table, we have the foreign key in this table, right? And then created, that relationship, right? I could just create this relationship myself. I can go ahead and delete this, all right? But there's a way you could set up your Power BI desktop such that this does not auto detect. So that it does not auto detect, right? So these are things we would expose you to in class, right? So there are a number of ways I can create this relationship, right? I can just come here, drag this, drop this here. And then there's what we call cardinality, one-to-many, many-to-many, one-to-one relationship, right? Which are things we expose to you in class. There's what we call filter flow, right? Maybe single or both, right? Or bidirectional, right? That thing to be exposed to in class, right? I can as well click on manage relationship and say new relationship. Then I'll select my fact tables, right? There's what we call fact tables or data tables, that things you're exposed to in class. And there's also what we call dimensional tables, right? Automatically detect what field that they have in common and says this is a many-to-one relationship, right? So I'll click save. All right, great. So that takes me to my report view. Hope I'm still audible. Can you see me?
Yes, you have. Please continue.
Okay. All right, great. All right. So, I mentioned about DAX, right? So with DAX, we create our measures and calculated columns, right? So the measures is what we call a filter context, and then the calculated column is what we call a row context, where you define values for each row, right? So take, for example, if I go to my fact sales, right? So let's say I want to create a new column. So how do I do that? I can just basically right click on any of these columns, right, within my table view, and then click on new column, right? Or we have the new column option here within the column tool tab. I can create select new column, right? And then I'll derive my revenue. So this time I'm creating a calculated column, right? But I'll be using a function called related function, right? Trust me, we have a number of functions within Power BI, right? But then again, so let's not, okay, so I would derive the revenue, right? For a number of us in sales, you know that revenue is, it'd be in this case, right? Your revenue will be your order quantity times the price, right? I mean, you sold two items, right? Multiplied by the price, that is your revenue, right? So I would say I would write in, I would use the multiplication operator in this case, right? Say order quantity multiplied by price, right? And then with this, we have, so if you notice that we have, now this looks like we have all same value all across, right? And that's because for most of this, this is, if I look at the product key, you notice that it's the same product across, right? So it is expected that the revenue is same, except if the order quantity is, you notice that we have the same order quantity across for this product or for this sales that was recorded, right? So I'll mention about the related function. I want to touch on this, right, because of time, right? So these are things that we take in class. It's called related table function. There's also a related function, right? So I would also be creating a measure, right? And how do I go about creating a measure? You could create a measure table. So these are things that you're exposed to in class, right? I'll click on the applicable or the relevant table, right, within the data pane. And then I would click on more option, or once I click on it, you have the option here that says new measure, right? So I would click on new measure. All right, so I would create a measure called total orders. All right, so this time I'll do a Dixon count. the order number. Right. So why? Because let me explain that. Now you notice that for this particular product, for this particular sales order number, sorry, right, for this particular product 220, right, same order number, right? So now the order quantity is 4, right? But then it was one product, right, which we received for, so 4 quantity of that same product was ordered, right? But it's still one order, right? So, there's also very important that you have some data understanding, right? There's what we call data dictionary, where you understand what each field, you have an understanding of what each field, what information we have in each field, right? So it's very, very important on how you write your formulas. You don't just go about writing formulas. There's a data understanding that needs to be established, right? So be able to know what formula you need to write, right? So totalizing distinct counts of each rows, right? So this is saying that this is still one order, right? But still, this is one product under the same order, right? So these are order number which is generated. Once you make another number is generated for you, right? But all of those products are still under the same one order, right? And then the order was made on the same day. So it's one order, yes, but different products was ordered, right? And of course, we had more multiple quantity of those products being ordered, right? So very important that we count each order number, right? A unique order number is generated for each order that you make. It's very important that we count them uniquely, right? So yes, we have multiple instances of, those order, right? Because we have different products, that was ordered under that same order number, right? But it's still one order, right? Another number is generated for one order. You can have multiple products, right, being made, or multiple purchases being made under that same order number, right? So that's why we have total saying distinct count of the order number. Yes, you have sales order number being repeated, but it's counting it uniquely. Right. So we are writing another measure called quantity sold. Right. So this time we're summing up the order quantity. So quantity sold. Should be a sum of the order quantity. Right. So I'll check this. All right. So, but usually you do not get to see your measure within the data view. Right, it gets visible within your visual. So these are things we explain. Right. So usually when you see like a calculator sign, it shows that this is a measure. Right. Sorry, calculator icon, like a calculator icon, and then it's not like a table. Right, just saying this is a numerical field, or it's also a calculated column. Right. So those are things to expose us to in class. Right. So I'll just go ahead to my report view. Right, and then I'll begin to create my dashboard. All right, so usually within your report view, you have the visualization pane. This way you have all of the chart templates, right? You can work with, right? We also have the filters pane. This is what we call visual level filter. This is what we call page level filter. This is what we call report level filter, right? So we'll touch on that while we're building that dashboard. All right, please confirm you can still hear me.
Yes, please, go ahead.
All right, great. So I would start off by, so usually I encourage that even as a BI analyst, right, or a BI developer, it's also very important that at least you can take some design thinking class, right? So it helps in terms of your dashboard layout, right? So even as much as one thing I encourage is that there is a balance, right? As much as yes, you've done a whole lot within the functionality, your core editor, or your measures are correct. You've done very good data modeling, right? It's also very important that in terms of your dashboard layouts, the look and feel, it is very appealing, right? There's a balance. Because a lot of times I see people even on LinkedIn put out a lot of dashboard, but then you realize that there's really a whole lot of gaps when it comes to data modeling, when it comes to data cleaning, when it comes to data manipulation within Power BI, right? And those are things that determine the accuracy of your report. So very important as a data analyst, validation and accuracy is very, 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 very important because you know that these are output from your insights. People are making decisions off your data, right? So imagine the MD of organization reporting what is not, right? Yeah, you know what that means, right? So yes, so you can edit this, maybe change the color of the canvas background, right? And how do I do that? Click on this. I have my format here, right? Or expand this. So let's say in some cases you have, maybe you are building dashboard for an organization and then they have a brand color, right? So it's something you can actually play around with. So let's take, for example, the brand color. Maybe I have the color code, right? Something you can actually request for. And then let's see, I would do something. Let's see, I have something around this. Yes, still is not something within the range. Okay. All right, this works. All right. So, but then you'll notice that nothing changed within the canvas background, right? So that's because we have transparency 100. Right? So I can just reduce this all the way, right? And then you notice that, the background is no longer white, right? So, so I've inserting a logo, right? Certain scenario brand logo, right? So I'll go to the insert tab, I'll click on image, right? Click on this. All right, so I have this in. I can insert a shape as well. Still on the insert tab, you see shape. Click on this. I'll move this all the way. Stretch this all. Right. So you can resize this. So I would make it white. So I would, once you click on whatever object you click on, right, so you have the format option, right? I would expand this. I'll select white. Right, but if you notice that it has some borderline, so I would sort of border, still on style, I'll toggle border. All right, okay, this looks good. So I think I'll just see, move this a bit, reduce length a bit. Let's move this to right. Okay, I think it looks good this way. All right, so I would resize the logo. Yeah, for some of us, it's actually scenario logo, scenario academy logo. Right, you did some touch the logo, right? So now if you notice that the logo is not visible anymore, right? So that's because oftentimes when you're bringing a new object, it's like there is an order, right? So, and how do I fix this? So I'll click on this, right? And within the format, there's an option here for arrangement. So I'll click on send to back, right? So now the logo is visible. So I can read, right? That means that I need to, so you can drag that down, but okay. Okay, so I'll move this up a bit or resize this. Okay, all right, great. So I can insert text as well, or still on the insert tab, I'll click on text. So I'll type in executive summary. All right, so if you notice that my text, I can increase the font. Let's see, it's in. Okay, I think it looks good. Okay, let's correct this. Executive summary. I'll work on the background. I'll toggle on the background. Okay, all right, great. So I'll make this bold. So I need to highlight the text and make this bold. So I'll drag this up. Okay, I think it looks better this way. All right. So I would be inserting a visual, right? So we have a number of visual here, right? So depending on how you want to, so I'm sure maybe for some of us who works within organizations, those are called KPIs, right? So KPIs are like your metrics, right? So so usually when I have you have it's also very important that you define your objectives. Maybe you have business questions you want to answer using your dashboard, right? So I would insert a slicer, right? So what this does, it helps me to slice my data, right? So this time I would use the order date, right? I'll click on this, right? And if you notice, gives me a range. There's a start date and an end date. So I'll drag this up here. Reduce autonomous slicer header, background as well. It's on the background. Reduce this a bit. Okay. Could touch on reduce this a bit. Okay. Let me create a shape. Okay, I think it looks good. All right. All right, so let's say you have a request, right? And then you were asked to report the top 10 products, right? Top 10 products by their total orders, or top 10 or highest performing product, top 10 highest top performing product, top 10 highest performing products, right? By total orders, right? So what that's saying in essence that they want to be able to see what product had the highest order, what top 10 product or what 10 products had the highest orders, right? So I would insert my visual, right? So this time I would use my matrix visual. Okay, I can resize this here. All right, so our size is there, right? So usually when you click on a visual, right, you notice that the options we have within visualization is dynamic, right? Depending on your selection. All right, so I would select my product name, right, which is within the DIM product table, right? I would check this product name, and then I would add in my total orders, right, which is within the fact sales. Check this. I would also check this. So there's what we call implicit and explicit measure, right? So if I take my time to, when I write a formula to create my measure, it's called explicit measure, right? If you notice, this total orders, we wrote a formula that says distinct count, but in the case of the revenue, I did not write any measure, right? So this is what we call implicit measure. So those are things that we would dissect, take our time to discuss in class. So I'll rename these as total revenue. Okay, so I think I would resize this. Okay, let me resize this. If you notice, we have a lot of products name here, right? So because basically I'm just cutting out all of the products name. So I can, maybe just give this work on the border, make it round it a bit, or let me see. Right, we can create a border bit. I'll make it be rounded, okay? We can still make it rounded. Um, so So increase around the corners a bit, make it more curved, right? So now we're asked to create a visual that speaks to top 10 products, right, by total orders, right? Highest performing product, right, in terms of total orders, or product that received the highest order, top 10 products received the highest orders. All right. So now I remember I explained that we have the filter pane. Now within the filter pane, we have what we call the visual level filter, the page level filter, and the report level filter. And the report level filter is what you have here as report filters on all pages. Right. So this time I want to apply the filter just only on this visual. Okay, let me play around with the column headers. Increase the font a bit. Right, so something that can actually walk around, just play around this. All right, so like I said, what we want is the highest products, top products with the highest orders, right? 10 products, right, with the highest order, top 10 products with the highest order, right? So to come here now within the filters on this visual, I'm applying the filter just on this visual. Right, so here I would drag in the product name. Come here. Okay, we already have the product name here. Come here. Now, within the filter type, hello, hope I'm still audible. Right, within the filters and visual, you have all of the fields, right, to insert into your visual, right? So we have a number of filter type. We have basic filtering, advanced filtering, and then the top end, right? So using the top end, you can look at the least performing product or the top performing product, but this time we're doing top performing product. So I'll say top 10. And this is by what metrics? So I would say by total orders. I'll click apply. So I want to watch what happens with the visual. So total orders 3,796, and then the total revenue more than 81 million. And I'll click apply. Now you notice that we have just 10 products here. Right. So I would have this here. Close this a bit. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and let me increase the font a bit. Within the column headers, increase this, give us 11. Increase the value font as well. Give this a bit. Okay, all right, I think this looks good. In some instances, you can make the headers bold. To column headers, you can make this bold if you want, right? Okay. All right, so I'll be creating another visual. Let's say if you're giving a charge to see what total orders is by product categories, right? And usually when it comes to comparison, so usually I use my tree map visual, right? So this helps to compare across categories, right? So I would insert this. Hello, can you hear me? Hope I'm still audible. So I'll bring this close to this. Can someone confirm? Hope I'm still audible.
Yes, you are. Thanks.
Okay, all right, great. So like I said, for each visual, the options within the visualization pane is dynamic, right? So this time we have categories. We never had categories for metrics, right? So here within the category field, I would check the category name, right? And then within the values, I'd check total orders. All right, great. So we have our So looking at this easily, you can see what category had the highest, right? So even without hovering on this, you know that protein had the highest total orders, followed by clothing, right? You know, this help, like I said, this helps for comparison, right, across categories. So I'll just rename this. So if you notice that the visual title looks too, looks too noisy, right? You know, there's what we call hierarchy when it comes to Power BI design. So these are things discussed in class. All right. So I'll just I'll work on the side to reduce font a bit. I can change the color as well. Let's give it something like this. Okay, all right. So I'll do work on the border as well. Okay, all right, great. So I'll be adding another visual called the card visual. So usually when you want to call out a calculated value, right? So usually your card visual comes to play. I'll reduce this a bit. Okay, great. All right, so let's say this time I want to visualize the total order. So within a glance, they can see what the total order is, you know, once the visitor's dashboard, right? So I'll just check this, right? So I can turn off the category label, right? Give it a title, I'll call these orders. Right, work on color. Give it this. Something that's okay, it's good. All right, work on the value color as well. Same. Okay, I think this looks good. Okay, so let's say I like what I've done here. I can just click on format painting and then easily I'm able to apply all of the edges. If you notice the border I have here has been applied there, right? So give it the title. Kind of category color value. Give it this. Okay, all right, great. So let's say I want to do simple quantity. So we'll come here, to be bring this close to this. Right. So I'll call this one. So instead of having to, I want to use the same formatting that's been done here. So having to recreate again. So I'll take this out and then I'll select quantity sold. All right, great. Then I'll need to rename this, call this quantity sold. All right, great. So let's say I was also given a charge to say, okay, you know what, once our revenue is like month on month, right? So usually when you are visualizing data that is time-based, right, use your line charts. Okay, so I'll come here. Now within my sales, right, within the order dates, we have a data hierarchy here. So I'll just select month, right? And then I would select revenue. So yeah, sum of revenue, right, across each month. But this is not best practice, right? So because if you look at this, the axis label, the x-axis labels is slanted, right? Which is really not best practice when it comes to building your visual, creating your visual, right? So what I would do now is right? So I might decide to stretch this all along, right? Or I would just make this within 3 months, right? Or say first 6 months. Drag this here and say, okay, give me just for January, the first 3 months. All right, so I would turn off Korea. Some of the axis title, like I said, usually give it a title, and it's very important that I give a title that is readable and understandable. Right, so I would call this monthly revenue. Let's make this consistent across. Okay, let me make it more, okay, looks like that. Okay, the line, right, so give it a color. That color looks kind of odd. Come here. This, okay, it looks good this way. Give it a border, create this. It is white. So. Okay, looks good. So I can turn off the X as a title as well. Right, turn on grid lines. All right, so this gives them within the first 3 months, right? What has revenue been like? Right. So, like I said, usually best practice is that when we have initially we had the first 12 months, right? And I could have just traced that all away. So in instances where they want to see what has happened month on month, this would not apply. I'd have leave it as the 12 months, but ensure that the axis labels are not slanted. Very, very, very important. All right, so I would go ahead and create another visual. Really need to rush. All right, so let me use this. Then this time I would use my cluster bar chart. All right, so for my cluster bar chart, so this time I would use the subcategory. So I hope you're still following. All right, so this time I'll go to my product table. I'll drag in subcategory name. We'll check this, right? And then I would also go to my sales table, check total orders. Right, so I need to rename this. So this time I'll call this total order by subcategory name. Right, the title looks reduce the title font a bit. Okay, looks good this way. Let's see. Okay, all right. So the bars, right? One thing with when you have to be that you have to be consistent when it comes to colors. You don't want your dashboard to look so busy, right? Oftentimes I will really encourage that you stick to the colors, right? Okay, come here. Now you can see that this is saying whey protein did the highest order, followed by gainer, right? By subcategory name, right? Okay, let me show something real quick. Let me move this here. Now you will notice this is what we call an hierarchy. So it's something I introduced to how to create an hierarchy. Now this shows high level. Now if I bring this, now this shows the next level of hierarchy. So these are things to get exposed in class. This shows by category name. It shows by subcategory name. All right, so I'll just take this out. So leave it at subcategory name. So that's a drill down option, right? So I would also create a slicer, another slicer, come here. of this here. So this time I would use the continent field, right? So within the dim customer select continent, right? So by default, this gives me a list, but then I can actually format this. Let's make this a tile, right? I can turn off slicer header, right? So with this slicer, if I click on this, I can see across the other visuals what has been done across Europe. Total orders for Europe 505, 5K for quantity sold. Okay, let me make this. So I can edit this to make this absolute. Come here, make it none, right? Can add some comma as well, right? Okay, so I would format this, just give it some touch. I hope you're still following. Hello, I hope we are still here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, great. So you can touch the colors, just play around this. Go to general effects, give this some background. Okay, okay, let me go to visual instead. Come here. Okay, this looks good. Okay, let me go to the background. Can you give me this background? Okay. Okay, clear border. Okay, let me make this. Okay, yeah, I think this looks good. All right. So so lastly, okay, let me give this some border as well. Just to ensure make this white. Increase around the corner, but all right. Still increase around the corner more. Okay, all right. So lastly, I'll be adding a map visual, right? And usually map visual help when you want to visualize geographical data. Right, so I would select this. Okay, great. All right, so it tells me location. So I would just drag in the country name from the dim customer table. Check this, okay. All right, so it says that map are not enabled. All right, so using, okay, let me sign out on this. Okay, and then I would, then for bubble size, I would check total orders. Okay, put off side, so right, so you can also give this a border, right? It's white. I'll just run it for now. And then great, we have our dashboard. Right, so you can see this gives us a view of the product name by total orders, top performing product by total orders, right? We also have a comparison across categories and saying protein is doing the most when it comes to total orders, right? And vitamins are doing not so well, right? So this gives us this would spark some decision that what could it be that we're not doing right when it comes to the victims category, right? And like I said, we have a number of AI features which introduced to us in class. There's what called decomposition, forecasting, being able to forecast, right? These are things we're exposed to in class. Right. We have total orders within a glance. You can say, okay, we recorded total orders, within the period, right? Quantity sold, okay, impressive, looks good. Month on month, what has revenue been like? If you notice from January, there was a dip to February, right? What could have gone wrong, right? That be need for a diagnostic analysis, right? Yes, what's total by category names? Okay, where protein is doing the most, right? And there's little wonder why protein is the highest here, right? Because under the protein category, we have a subcategory called whey protein, which is doing the most, right? So it shows that whey protein, when it comes to the orders, we've received more orders for the whey protein within protein category. And then, yeah, you notice we have bubble size here, right? This is in United States had the highest order, right? Followed by Canada, right? And even though we have the little bubble size, is saying that we have not recorded as much orders, right? And if I have to filter for just Europe, right? So this is saying that in UK, we had the highest, followed by France, then Germany. In North America, this filter just for North America and South America, right? So, with this, within a glance, business decision can be made, oh, a protein is in the most, right? Interestingly enough, revenue dropped in February, right, from January, right? What could have been the result of this? It shows that we've not been on an upward trend, right? The total as within a glance, the quantity sold within a glance. So, like I said, there's really a whole lot, that would be exposed to really in the class, right? Like I said, I'll introduce some AI features, artificial intelligence features available within Power BI, right? How to do some predictive analysis within Power BI, right? So yeah. So at this point, I would take some questions. Is there any question? Any question? Questions? Questions? Any question? Hello, can you still hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, all right. Any questions?
Well understood from my end.
Following, are you still on this call? Okay, all right, great. Thank you. Any question, clarification, right? Following, are you on the call? So I think I'll yield the floor to you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Okay, all right then. So
Thank you so much. You can close the, stop sharing. All right, so we've just been able to use two tools to analyze data. I hope you can see my screen. So the first instructor took us to Excel. And most of these things is that once you have data, that's the first question. How do you get data? Once you get data, the next thing is how do you make them proper? Because not all data are proper, right? There's what we call structured data and unstructured data. Because every one of us, as we have a structure, and that structure is that we stand erect, right? Then when you see somebody that is not standing erect, maybe the person is leaping or rolling on the floor, what comes to your mind is that the structure has been distorted, right? So when data comes, first of all, you need to look at it. Is this a structured data? If you check and you see that this is not a structured data, you cannot proceed with making information from it. Why? Because rubbish data is rubbish report, right? So when a data is neat, clean, structured, then you can make information from it, right? So these sessions have been short, and some of the things, especially this Power BI, can quickly see that the instructor was trying to quickly close up on it. Normally, you are meant to take time to understand each tool, where to click on, what it will give you, and the likes, right? So that's all from the instructor for now. The recordings will be available to us after the class. How do you take advantage of our data analytics course? We have both physical and online class, and by online, we use Zoom for our training. But for the physical class, we have our office at Ikeja around Olowu, right? We have so many project materials that will help you to gain mastery while we hold you tight. We also help you with certifications where necessary, right? Our instructors are certified, well experienced. We also provide you with post-training support. You'll be trained on tools like Power BI, Excel, SQL, and collaboration tools also, as well as GitHub and the likes. We give 2 months internship after the training, and it is free. You don't pay for it. In the internship, you'll be exposed to different industry data, right? So you have, let's say, health sector data. How do you analyze the data? So first thing first is that we'll be able to build your mindset to know what you look for when you come in contact with data, right? So the 2 months internship is virtual, and we ensure that projects are done. And those projects are the things that you can add as your as part of your development, right? We also do mentorship, interviews, and the likes. So our online class is 150,000, while our physical class is 250, right? Physical class is for 9 weeks, and just Saturdays alone. While our online class is Saturday and Sundays, and it's for 8 weeks. All our classes are recorded, so you can revert to the recordings. So many of our students that even as far back as 2023, they still have access to all those recordings, right? Because the good thing is that any leadership role you attain at any point in time, data will be presented. There is no department, no organization, no unit that you will not see data. You see people collating data, right? And when you have these skills, you'll be able to analyze it. And there is no how you will be you'll be resourceful, right? You'll be adding values, and definitely money will always exchange hands. All right, so take advantage of our programs, right? You can subscribe to any of them. If you have any question, you can send the question to our training at Scenario Academy. We'll be able to attend to you. You can see a breakdown of all our courses. If you want weekdays, we'll be able to, you can also write to us on training at Scenario Academy. We'll be able to take you up for weekdays. We also have other training. So we have the Microsoft Excel and Power BI and SQL training. And here are the details. I've mentioned it, the physical class is 250 and the online is 150, right? For the physical class, we have a capacity of over 60. The class is beautiful, well-structured, AC, standing AC and everything. You have 2 people on a table, standard chair, like my own chair, right? It's comfortable. When I say comfortable, it's extremely comfortable. It's just I've not been able to produce a video here. Otherwise, I have them on my phone and the likes. We also train on data science and machine learning with Python. We also train on financial modeling and business valuation with Excel, advanced Excel. So those are the courses we offer, and you can always get the breakdown of each of these courses, the curriculum. You can get them on our website. These are all the things our training will cover, right? That's on Excel. And when you move to Power BI, right, a visualization tools, you'll be able to see all the various topics that will be trained, right, on Power BI and the likes. All right, so having said that, We also have flexible payment plan to enable you to enroll. So you can talk to, you can chat us up through our numbers. Our numbers is 0807688 4912, right? You can always chat us, and here is our training. You can chat us, call us, Bangboche Street of Olowu, right? So that is how you can reach us. If you have any question, you can still reach us. We are available to attend to your queries. In the absence of, okay, aside that, let me see if there are questions I can attend to here. If there are none, then we have to call it a day. So what will happen is that after the recordings, we ensure that it's routed to you via your email, then you can be able to access it and go through the training. Any question, please? Okay, I think there's one here. Okay, the form. Please ensure you fill in your details in the form provided via the link below. So data analytics is a very good course. I've worked across many departments, more than 10 departments. Work in HR, work in finance, work in IT, work in so many departments. Why? Because of my sound expertise in data analysis. These things are not hard. It depends on the instructor, right? In our own academy, we ensure that you get value for your money. We will not leave you until you get that value. We'll be able to push things to you. If you are not satisfied, you have to reach back to us. Then we'll be able to follow up and ensure that you gain mastery on these things, right? We do not leave you. We are not even, we have a lot of people that give us testimonials. We have even pasted some of them. You see them on our handles, IG, Instagram and Facebook handles. Those who got jobs, those who got promoted because of haven't gone through our class and gain mastery. There is no how you'll be able to analyze data and people will not look for you, right? So having said that, it's been a little while, let's say almost 3 months that I trained last, but I enjoy training, right? Any question there? I think there's a question here. Okay, no question. Okay, thank you, Abayomi. All right, any other questions? So before we call it a day. All right, so thank you for your time. We want to appreciate you for this taster session with Scenario Academy, and we hope to see you on board very soon. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye.